Welcome to the first episode in a new Legendarium series about Owen Glendower's Welsh Rebellion. In part 1, we will talk about the early life of the Welsh national hero and how his feud with an English lord escalated into a national uprising. In 1354, Glendower was born into one of the most prominent families in Wales, which had been ruled by England since the 1280s. Glendower's family claimed descent from the princes of Powys and even Llywelyn the Great. Later tale-tellers embellished the story of Glendower's birth by describing omens appearing when he was born, including fiery shapes in the sky and all his father's horses found standing in blood up to their bellies. Omens or not, upon his father's death in 1370, Glendower pursued his education in London at the prestigious Inns of Court, like many wealthy young Welshmen of the time. Owen went on to serve the English crown as a soldier against the Scots. He wore a scarlet flamingo feather as his crest, and once charged a Scotsman while swinging the butt of a broken lance like a club. Glendower then married the daughter of an Anglo-Welsh judge, fathered 6 sons, and lived quietly at his ancestral seat. Yet for all his standing and accomplishments, Owen Glendower remained a second-class citizen in his own country. After the Edwardian conquest of Wales, the English built a network of massive stone castles across Wales, mainly along the coast. One Welsh patriot described them as the magnificent badges of our subjugation. The Welsh, even nobles like Glendower, lived under something close to apartheid. They could not go into an English town after dark, they could not gather in large groups, the Welsh language could not be used in government or the courts, and a Welshman needed a special permit to own land. And on top of that, the Welsh were taxed 3 times higher than the English. In the year 1399, Glendower found himself pulled into a violent struggle with an English nobleman named Lord Grey of Ruthin, who began snatching land and villages from Glendower. Incensed, Glendower traveled to London to seek redress from Parliament. Instead, the MPs jeered at him and called the Welsh barefoot clans of little repute. So in September 1400, Glendower returned home, rallied his retainers, and started a war against Lord Grey that soon escalated into a national uprising. Glendower timed his war well. The lawful king, Richard II, had been deposed and probably murdered by Henry Bolingbroke, now King Henry IV. And since Henry was a usurper, Owen could rebel against Henry much more easily than he could against a lawful king like Richard. Owen's peasant recruits used modified farm tools like flails, pickaxes, and even turned pruning shears into billhooks that could pry open English armor. Soon, the rebels were joined by Welsh students studying at Oxford University who were weary of humiliation by their English peers and professors. Throughout 1401, Glendower took control of most of northeastern Wales, and in 1402, Lord Grey of Ruthin, who had started this whole war, organized the English counterattack. The two sides met at Hye-on-Wye, and before the battle, Owen's men saw a comet in the sky, which they took as a good omen. They would need it. 2,500 English soldiers and Welsh recruits faced off against 1,000 Welsh peasant militia led by Glendower. Yet, as the English charged uphill, the Welsh conscripts who were supposed to be covering them turned against them. The Welsh longbowmen dipped their arrows in feces, so any wounds they inflicted upon the English would become infected. over 1,000 English soldiers died in the mud and blood at Hye-on-Wye to only 200 Welshmen. Glendower even caught his old enemy Lord Grey as he tried to escape, and only returned him after he got a ransom of 6,000 shillings. The Welsh Rebellion had begun. That wraps things up for this episode of the Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.